flew without a drop of fuel from Abu Dhabi to Oman, across the Arabian Sea to India, Myanmar, China, Japan, and over the Pacific to Hawaii.
How are you feeling after all that time? You broke a world record in terms of solo flight at 2 hours.
Resuming the round-the-world adventure in April 2016, Solar Impulse continued from Hawaii to California and New York, across the Atlantic to Spain, then Egypt, and made it back successfully to Abu Dhabi in July.
Tell you to be back here in this building at IATA. I remember when we came first time, that was about 10 years ago, we were thinking about the future flights, where to stop, how to integrate this special airplane in the traffic of the largest airports, how to get authorization from different countries where we're flying to. And that's what we started to do extremely early. And thanks to the initial contacts we have through IATA and with the ACI and different organizations, we started to build up our relationship together with Greg that here, our head of special relationship in the different part of the world. So you have seen that after 13 years we were able to bring this airplane back, in fact, to Abu Dhabi. It all started even earlier in 1999 when Bertrand flew around the world with a balloon and started to think if it would not be possible to get rid of this dependence on the energy you have to board on the airplane, and ultimately if it would not be possible to build an airplane with an unlimited endurance, using renewable energy and getting its energy every day. So with the possibility to fly almost, at least theoretically, forever. Something that aviation industry considered impossible in 2003 when we started. We had to develop our own solutions that you have seen. And interestingly, in fact, technologies were available. So it was not, the question of developing a new type of batteries, a new type of solar cells. It was to find the way to integrate the technologies which were available around, maybe not in the aviation industry at the time, but in the chemical world, looking for materials, in the electronic industry, looking for electronics, and finding the way, in fact, to put these technologies together to make it feasible. Of course, the challenge was pretty ambitious, to build an airplane of the size of a 747 with a weight not exceeding the weight of a car. But at the end, what was important was to have the right mindset, the right attitude, the right beliefs, in fact, to look for airplanes. If you remember the Wright brothers, they used cloth, they used wood, both materials which existed since 2,000 years. So them as well, in fact, they had to find a way to make an airplane fly, but not discover new technologies to make it feasible. And in some ways, that's what we are confronted with in today's world. If you look at the car industry, everybody said it's impossible to build electric cars because you cannot get the range. Because what did we do? We took the combustion engine out, brought back the electric engine in, and were astonished that we could drive only 50 miles. And we needed to have someone who started from the new technology, electric, software, and build the car around these technologies. And that's what Elon Musk did, and showing, in fact, the path towards these new possibilities. So, see Solar Impulse, and this was the idea of Bertrand Piccard, and when he comes, I think he will talk more about message. See, in fact, this airplane as a message, basically a message of what can be done. And interestingly, initially, it was very much focused on clean technologies, because to be able to fly day and night with the energy that you get only during the day, we had to build an airplane which is extremely energy efficient. So it's a demonstration of energy efficiency. And this energy efficiency we can of course, and we should use on the world in all our applications, especially on the ground. But Bertrand will talk more about this because that was really his motivation, his idea when he started the project, he initiated the project 13 years ago. Now, interestingly, also when we were in 2003 and we talk about electric propulsion, people thought, wow, that's interesting, but it will remain anecdotal. And today we see that in fact the perception is completely different. So on one side, IATA was now able to propose new measures to reduce the CO2 production, and this was discussed and presented at COP22. So with different milestones, operational measures on one side, but also certainly improvement on technology on the other side. And
it's clear that if you want to bring a message about technology, about innovation, if you want to bring a message about new ways to do, new ways to think, aviation is the wonderful symbol. And I remember that I was in 2004 here at IATA to speak about the partnership with the world of aviation. And IATA is the first one who has answered yes. IATA was the institutional partner of Solar Impulse from the early beginning. What was interesting is that you believed in it, but the constructors of airplane did not believe in Solar Impulse. And it shows these two dimensions of aviation. One is quite conservative, because the goal is to transport people from one place to the other in the most safe way. In this way, there is no revolution since 50 years. But the people who think about the future of aviation, like in the institution, like in ICAO, like in IATA, are quite innovative. And that was wonderful to see the support we had, and also the reception we had when André landed with Solar Impulse 1 on the airport of Geneva in 2011, just under the windows of IATA during one of the big meetings here. So if we speak about trying to inspire people, it's true that aviation has a very strong place. And this is exactly what we tried to do. Today, the world needs new ways to think in terms of environment and ecology. Because the old way to think did not work. What was the old way to think in environment? It was to protect the environment by limiting mobility, threatening transport, threatening mobility, threatening growth. And of course, this does not work. It doesn't work at all. You have maybe 5% of the population who wants to do that. 95% of people don't want less. They want better. And in that sense, it was a disaster to try to protect the environment by limiting growth. So we have today, or maybe since 2 or 3 years, for the first time, we have solutions that reconcile ecology and economy. This is called clean tech, clean technologies. The clean technologies can bring energy efficiency, can bring a decrease in the energy waste. It can save the natural resources. It reduces the toxical emissions. And at the same time, it's a fantastic market for the industry. Not only against climate change, but just against pollution. Just against what is happening today in France, where only half of the cars are allowed to drive because of the smog. What happens every day in China or in other countries of the world. These technologies exist. They are profitable because it's a big market. They create jobs, they make profit, they sustain growth. So even if we want to make our country great again, we need these new technologies, and we need this way to be more energy efficient.
Crossed the Atlantic to Spain, then Egypt, and made it back successfully to Abu Dhabi in July.